What is going on, everybody? Chazdex here, and welcome back to the A through Z Planet Coaster Park. And today we are building our first coaster in the park. This is going to be based off of C, and this is going to be a pretty special coaster for C because this time around I'm not basing it on any of the parts. I was just simply inspired by the letter C. I was thinking like C. Okay, canyon, that could be a fun theme to work with, like Western Canyon. And then right after I thought of that, I made a video about a character that I designed. I'll link it right now. You can go watch it, and it's like a prospector baby. So I was like, hey, you know what? I can do like a mine train kind of with this idea, and it just kind of spurted from that. I'm not trying to be super strict in this series, like of only getting my inspiration from the pieces, because that's not really in the spirit. It's all about inspiration, and no matter where you get the inspiration from, I feel like the only rule that I'm giving myself this series is that it has to come from something adjacent to the letter. So like for D, let's say, obviously I'm not going to do this because it's not a good idea, but let's say for example tomorrow I go on a walk and then I see a dog. I'm like, hey, for the D area I want to do a dog inspired thing. It can just come from that. All it has to be is it just has to be inspired by the letter. Now today I'm going to be building a Vekoma swinging mine train. Now I don't know a lot about this coaster type. I'm pretty sure there is only one, and that's the one that I've been on, and it's the swinging mine train coaster, Seven Dwarves Mine Train at Disney World. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the only one, and it's also a custom designed coaster. So I don't know if like Vekoma would technically legally be allowed to put this in our park. But with this ride, I just kind of wanted to make a plus Seven Dwarves Mine Train. Like Vekoma made Seven Dwarves Mine Train, and they were like, okay, how can we do better than this? How can we make an even more intense but still family friendly version of the ride? So this right here was my second iteration of the layout, and then I kind of did a little bit of a revamp on the second half. In a couple minutes here, I don't think I do it. I think I like place a bunch of paths and stuff. I do a lot before I decide to redo everything after that second lift, because I was just not really happy with it, and I kind of wanted more interaction with the rest of the land, and I think I got that in the end. Now, as I was kind of working on this build, I thought a lot about my coaster building style, because I know a lot of Planet Coaster players, they aren't really into the technical aspect of it. The technical aspect of Planet Coaster, from my perspective, it's kind of like a really small subsect of the community, which are like people who are really hard set on using mods to make the smoothest and most custom coasters. But like if you look around, that's not necessarily like the majority of the community, or maybe it is. I'm basically clueless. The reason I say this is because I kind of want you to think about it. And maybe leave a comment. Like, are you one of the people who want to make like super smooth, super custom coasters like this? Make super smooth custom coasters like this? Or are you one of the people who kind of decide to just like have fun with it and kind of make it more about your imagination and not necessarily try to think of your coasters in a real world context? Because like, I don't know, as I've kind of seen the community kind of start to dwindle a little bit, like some of even the biggest Planet Coaster creators are barely even topping like 100 views on some of their videos nowadays, or at least from what I've seen. I don't know, it's just pretty interesting. As the community's gotten smaller, I've kind of seen the divide between like super realistic players and mainly creative players kind of start to grow a little bit more than before, because before we had creators kind of like I guess a lot of these creators are still around, but they're a lot less prominent, like Yure and Silverette. Those are two creators that kind of stand out for doing builds that are like right in the middle, so they aren't necessarily like super realistic, or I mean, at times they can be super realistic, but they could also take a chance to be more creative, be more liberal, while still maintaining that quality. And that's kind of like a divide that's a little bit more pronounced nowadays. Anyway, you can see right here I'm putting in the Inspector Tinklewinkles, and I think I named the coaster in a couple seconds here. This flat rider here was actually pretty fun to do. Actually no, that was a lie. I take that back. This was not fun to do. I was thinking of, because I did another flat ride skin for this, in like a different park or something. I'm probably never gonna upload it. It wasn't even a park. It was like literally just a flat ride skin for this. And I had fun with that, but I did not have fun with that. It looks way shorter in this time lapse because this is a super short time lapse, but that was just pretty annoying. Now for this station, I didn't want to finish the station today, and as you can see, I didn't. But like these staircases right here, these were actually pretty important to like the layout of the land, and I think I'm gonna have to adjust this later, because I just don't think there's enough like space for guest traffic to get through underneath that track, and it's already gone, so there's no point talking about it. But I was just gonna say that pathway right there was really important because I needed to get guests off the ride. Even if technically there aren't going to be any guests in the park, I need to get guests off the ride, but then I also need to make sure they don't crowd up too much with the people entering the land or entering the area next to this. So this rock work, this is kind of also setting the theme for the entire area. So I kind of want it to be like western, but also with like a hint of like ocean, kind of like beachy, because that's kind of like the main vibe that this entire park is going to give. Kind of like Islands of Adventure. I saw some comments on one of my latest Reddit posts saying it's giving Islands of Adventure, and it is. It's definitely very, very heavily Islands of Adventure inspired. And kind of like Islands of Adventure, it kind of has one whole encompassing theme of adventure. And even if it's completely different, like land themes, I kind of want to still incorporate that by using like similar motifs, I guess, similar colors, so that when you're looking at everything, not necessarily exactly the same, because I obviously want contrast between lands, but I don't know, I think if I have like the same similar-ish vibes, you know, if I kind of match every vibe up like partially, I think it'll work out well. And once I added those stalagmites or stalactites, I forgot the difference. But once I added those, it kind of helped everything come together a little bit more, because like these rocks could have fit into the other land. Yeah, you can see right there, I was just testing the walkthrough to see if it made sense. But like these rocks could fit into the other land, but I think if by me putting like these stalagmites, stalactites, whatever, by me putting those in, it kind of gave this land a little bit more character, a little bit more sense of self. And then I kind of leave the areas where I am transitioning into the entrance area with a little bit more barren and a little bit of like ambiguous rock. Like that rock could be in either land. Now this right here, this is an elevator. I kind of wanted to, well, initially I was building this elevator just for functionality. I was like, hey, you know what? I could actually use this for style. So I took advantage of the elevator and was like, I ended up using it as like a tower. I obviously don't finish the station today. I think I'm going to do that next episode. I'm going to finish the station, finish the entire ride tomorrow. I don't know why I said I think. That's what I'm doing. Next episode, I'm going to just finish the entire ride. But this elevator was completely on accident. Well, I put it there on purpose, but it ended up being one of the biggest design points of this ride. You can see right there, I accidentally forgot to place my archer, my amazing archer, and messed up the scale on that elevator. But yeah, you can kind of see the design that I'm going for with this. And again, just by using those colors right there, you can kind of see that I'm trying to like make everything fit with the overall theme of adventure in this park, while giving it something unique. So the rocks kind of signify the adventure, and like the western building and the roof which also match with the rocks, kind of helps everything to come together. Now for this queue area right here, this is going to be the bulk of the queue area, that right there. I figured this ride's like high capacity enough that it probably won't be much of an issue. But that queue area right there is going to be, it's kind of inspired by Splash Mountain at Disneyland. Because I kind of like how you get like those multiple layers, so the people walking up can see the people just entering the building, and the people entering the building can kind of see the people on top. If I remember, I'll put a picture right here, but I don't know, I kind of like that dynamic. And yeah, right here, if you know this mine train coaster model in the game, it comes with a pre-slatted track. If I stop moving around for a second, you'll be able to see that the lift has that pre-slatted track built in. But I wanted to do a custom slat, I guess you could say. It just allows me more flexibility, and I think it's more realistic because the only version of these that's in real life, the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train coaster, uses the same kind of technique where they use like this basic track, and then as you go, you can see like there's parts where it's only basic track, and then you can see parts where it's like slatted. Now right here I do add the I add this like wall around the entire area, and I think that just kind of helped everything come together a little bit more, because I could kind of decide, okay, this is where I'm setting everything, and it kind of gave me a little bit more motivation to just like get to work and build this mountain, because that's what I'm starting right now. I'm starting on the main mountain of the ride. And these big mountains, like these big mountain structures, they're always stuff that I struggle with. There's like these big natural structures, especially if you're using it with like one color that's not necessarily like the most abundant. Like gray colors are a lot more abundant than these tan colors, and I guess with like TMTK and Flexicolor it's a lot less of an issue. But I just struggle, like, because you have to place everything one by one. And then at the end of the day, it just looks like terrain, like plussed terrain. But I think that's about where I stop it on the terrain front. This little thing right here, I was like, I really want to have this element in the ride, because like that element where it kind of goes over then around the water, I really like that, but I couldn't really justify using the rock structures. So I was like, you know what, let's add even more detail. This is gonna be a bit of like it was a big project building these structures, because I'm not good with like wood supports and stuff. I don't think I have any videos on my channel about it, but I was in the Corvus coaster contest. I think I got 8th place, and I did this ride called Haven's Revenge, and if you see that ride, the custom supporting on it is so bad. I'm just not a custom supporting guy. I'm just like not good at it. So when I'm doing it voluntarily, I don't really have a point here. I'm just bad at it all around. I'm bad at it when I'm doing it voluntarily, and I'm bad at it when I'm doing it involuntarily. Another thing which I haven't really talked about much this episode is my philosophy for the like the paneling on the ride, because it's such a big project. I need a philosophy for the paneling. You know, that's just kind of what happens when you get these big undertakings. And for the paneling, I was kind of thinking, if it has something underneath it, if like the paneling has something underneath it, I can just turn on the coaster supports and then just build the paneling underneath that. And then if like I'm custom supporting everything like I'm doing right here, what I can do is that I'll just build the structure and then use like little metal connections to the structure, and then place the slats on that, or worst case scenario, just literally place the slats on the structure. And I think just like kind of thinking about the slats as like extra additions and not necessarily as part of the track definitely helped this build process, because I wasn't necessarily thinking about, okay, how many things am I gonna have to connect to the track to make it look like one cohesive thing. I kind of had to think of it as I just kind of had to think of it as an extra piece. And I think in a couple seconds here, we are going to be coming to the end of the time lapse. I added a couple more little rock details here to kind of finish off our like main impression, our main facade for the coaster. But yeah, that's about it. And now I'll see you guys in the cinematics. See ya.